This is Andrew.
Hi, Andrew. This is Philip with WIAT. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing all right. I understand that you are looking into a complaint made within the Birmingham Police Department regarding the prayer walks led by Chief Roper.
Correct.
Can you tell me a little bit about the nature of the complaint, what the issue is?
Sure. We actually received a complaint. There's two major issues. The prayer walk is one of them, and the other issue is that the chief is imposing prayer on all of his employees at mandatory department meetings, and pretty much every event within the police department. He has a Christian prayer to begin the meeting or the event. And we were actually contacted by a police department employee who wanted us to look into both the prayers before the meetings and the chief's participation in the prayer walks. And both of those violate the Constitution pretty severely, as a matter of fact.
One of the big things is, and I've been in Alabama now for 11 years, but one of the big things that I've noticed here is that prayer leads just about everything regarding government. The state legislature, before they open up for the day, has a prayer you're not compelled to participate in, but it is done. They do it before all council meetings. It's done before all city and county functions. So is that an issue as well, or are we just specifically looking at, that the police department's chief is following the same path as other elected leaders?
So it's a little different, because if you have the state legislature, those prayers technically are for themselves, which is different than having your government employer, your chief, impose prayer on all of the employees below him. So those employees are either forced to sit through a religious ritual to a God they may or may not believe in, or a religion they may or may not adhere to, or they're forced to stand up and out themselves as being different in the middle of this police department function, which, as you can imagine, could have a severe effect on your professional career. So it is different when you're talking about a government body versus a police chief doing this to his employees. And then it's also different than the prayer walks themselves. It does appear that he is using significant police department resources to orchestrate these prayer walks, and he's also using his official government office and title to appear at these and to preach in the name of Jesus, which exceeds the boundaries of anything that we've ever seen.
So what you're saying, and I'm going to get to the prayer walks in a second, because I've actually covered a few of these as a journalist, but
okay.
Going back to the issue within the department regarding the police chief-led meetings.
Sure.
Is this something that is new to the department? He has been actually serving as police chief since, I believe it was December of 2007 was when he was appointed.
I don't think it's new. Our understanding is that it's been going on for a long time, but there are cases in federal court that have said, and there was actually one with the Milwaukee Sheriff's Office, where it was very, very similar. Prayer, lots of religious language at meetings, handing out Bibles and literature at meetings, and that police department was held liable for the police chief's or for the sheriff's actions in that case. So it's pretty clear that he can't be imposing Christian prayers at employee meetings of the police department.
I know you, because of what you were just saying regarding the fear of retribution, but can you tell me if this is a new officer to the department? When I say new, under 5 years, or is this somebody that's been around for a while?
The only thing I will say about our complainant is that they are employed by the Birmingham Police Department.
Okay. Can you say when the complaint was actually filed with you?
We got the complaint in late April. It took us about 2 weeks to wade through all the evidence. There was just, mountains and mountains of these videos showing him violating the law. So it took us a while to put all that in order, and then we sent the letter on Wednesday.
Okay, so this was late April of last year.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. If I said April, I apologize. I meant late February, so just a couple weeks ago.
All right. Do you know if there was any action taken by the employee prior to this to run this up the chain of command, go through, say, HR, or make any complaints through the regular channels?
I won't say anything about our complainant other than that they're employed by the police department.
So there's a possibility that this person didn't follow protocol within the city to
I won't say anything other than they're employed by the police department.
Okay. Going to the prayer walks. Now, one of the things that I noticed initially when we first started covering these was that there was use of police cruisers to put on lights to make a quick siren effect in order to get people's attention, and also to block roadways as the march was coming through. Is that the issue that you guys have using resources in that capacity?
That is one of the issues that we have. The other issue that we have is just the general use of the Birmingham Police Department to endorse Christianity. You know, when Police Chief Roper appears at these events, he uses his official title. He's introduced with his official title. He's often wearing a Birmingham Police Department shirt or has his badge. You know, he preaches as the police chief. You know, he's not appearing as A.C. Roper, citizen of Birmingham. If he were doing that, we wouldn't have a problem. But he's appearing as the police chief, using his official government office to preach for Jesus. And then he's also using his officers and their resources under his control to endorse that Christian message, which presents a problem as well. So there's kind of two distinct but very related problems there.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Had he gone through the channels of requesting a permit through the city, that would have gone through the city council, requesting the use of the police department in order to block off sections of road so that he could actually have this, like any other group that would be marching or going through those steps, in a civilian capacity, not as the chief, would that still be an issue?
I don't think so. You know, if this were a legitimate civilian exercise and had gone through all the proper channels and did have all the proper permits and was not the abuse of power it appears to be, then we wouldn't have such a problem with it. You know, and again, if he wants to go to church on Sunday and preach, if he wants to attend these prayer walks on Saturday, that's fine. Our problem is him using his title and his power as police chief to lend power and prestige to these events, to kind of grant them this legitimacy and say that, you know, the prayers are actually working to lower crime, which is utter nonsense, really.
Okay. What is the end game on this? What are you guys looking to do? Is this going to wind up being monetary, or is this specifically just getting the chief to stop doing what he's doing?
All we're looking for is that the police chief adheres to his oath to uphold the Constitution. You know, he promised to uphold the Constitution, and that's what we want from him. You know, right now he's trampling it underfoot. All we want to see is that he use his government office for government functions, not for endorsing his particular brand of Christianity.
Okay. And regarding like police graduations or anything in those capacities, where there's typically a police chaplain that will come up, is that something that your group also wants to see done or stopped when we're talking about, say, an academy graduation? Because that's very typical.
Yeah, prayer at any police department events needs to cease. When he's acting in his official capacity and he has employees, subordinate employees there, he can't be leading prayer, he can't be imposing prayer. Those prayers do need to stop. And again, there is significant federal case law suggesting that that is illegal.
All right. My last question then for you. In what capacity can he use a police chaplain then?
Say it again?
In what capacity may he use a police chaplain?
Well, I have a problem with police chaplains altogether. That's not an issue that we raised at this time. So I'd have to look into exactly how they are using it. The courts, the chaplain issue is kind of a mess actually in the courts. They've been back and forth. Essentially, what you need for a chaplain to actually have a chaplain, there has to be a burden on somebody's free exercise of religion. And that burden has to be government imposed. So the best example is, you know, our soldiers who are serving overseas. You know, they're not going to have access to their home churches. Sometimes they may be in an area where there are no churches at all or no synagogues, and it's very difficult for them to worship in the way that they want. So in that case, the government or the courts have said that the government can provide these soldiers with an alleviation of that burden because they're serving our country. So for there to be police department chaplains, the police department has to be imposing a burden on its officers' free exercise of religion. And I haven't looked into whether or not that's occurring or what the factual allegations would be on that front. So I can't comment too deeply on that at the moment. But I can tell you that prayer most certainly does not work to lower crime.
What's your next step here? Obviously, he's received the letter. He received that, I believe, earlier this week, possibly Wednesday, I think. So what's the next step from this point on? Does he adhere to the letter at that point, or are you sort of in a waiting game at this point?
Right now, we're just waiting. We always prefer to work with government entities and schools that we contact, not against them. In this case, Chief Roper may not have realized what he was doing was out of bounds. It certainly seems that way because he wasn't shy about it. He wasn't shy about going on camera and saying these things and abusing his title. Hopefully right now we can educate the chief and he'll realize what he's doing is wrong and act in accordance with the Constitution instead of against it. And so that's what we're hoping for, and we're awaiting his response and assurances that he will act in such a manner.
All right. Andrew, you answered my questions very well. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you. It was nice speaking with you.
Take care, sir.